Hi there, my name is Noel Loudon, and in this video I'm going to give you an overview of the DriveStat system. This system has been developed in conjunction with Harper-Shaw Investigation Consultants and Clear Vehicle Data. It is a single VRM or VIN lookup tool for UK registered vehicles that gives you the rich picture around a vehicle of interest. This has been designed predominantly for those people involved in automotive investigations, either serious collision investigations or what we would term vehicle system forensics, when we're looking at exploiting data to assist criminal investigations from a vehicle. It will help in the planning stages, and it will also contribute towards quality management systems when we are looking at ISO standards within forensic activities as well. The data is sourced from the manufacturers themselves via some of our other partners, and it has been put into one simple to use user interface that can be used both on a mobile device, but on a desktop it can export the reports to PDF, and it is commissioned for use and licensed for use within the criminal justice system here in the UK. So what I'm going to do in this video is talk you through the system to give you a little bit of a demonstration, but it will be down to you to recognize how this system may benefit you in your investigations going forward, because there are a myriad of different uses for this, as I am finding out by speaking to different people within the automotive sector as to how they can use the data. Now, it's not completely revolutionary. A lot of this data is out there already, but what this system does is it pulls it all into one place where you can see it all in one place, produce a report that puts it all into one report, and it saves you a lot of time and uncertainty around how reliable the data is when you may be looking at other sources of information on the internet. So I've got the application loaded up on a desktop at the moment, but it would also look the same on a smart device or on a tablet as well. And I'm going to jump onto this web page now and just give you a demonstration of the system. So within the user interface here, I've obviously got the yellow highlighted field where I can input a registration number. So I've just taken one from Auto Trader this morning, and we're just going to see whether or not this vehicle will come through, as long as I've written it down okay. So all I need to do is enter the reg and then click on the search tab. Once that starts to do its work, we should be returned with a vehicle of interest with images at the top and the specification of the vehicle, as you can see above the images. So what this system is allowing me to do now is see some stock images, and if I slide these across, you can see there are 4 images returned about the vehicle. We would use these images in some future reporting if we just wanted a stock image of a vehicle, a nice crisp white background. If I click on there, then I could just save that image out of this user interface into my downloads folder, and then integrate that as a JPEG or PDF into the report. So coming down, we've got the plus arrows on the right hand side for the different data sets. Now, all this data that is highlighted in white or light blue, as it may appear, is what you would get as which forms part of the standard lookup. So you will get the DVLA data about this vehicle. So this is not going to be particularly mind-blowing for those people that are in the automotive industry, but we get the standard DVLA data that they hold about the vehicle within this section. We can see MOT expiry, tax expiry, dates of manufacturer, and keeper details as regards the start date. There is no personal data within any of these data sets I'm going to talk about. The only identifiable feature would be the registration number, which is generally publicly available, and the VIN number. But on open source information on the normal web, you would not be able to identify an individual. It doesn't hold any insurance details of policyholders or anything of that nature. So we can see some of the specification details that are held there on the DVLA database. So if I close that one back down. Now Solify are the vehicle data providers, and if you want to learn more about where the data is actually coming from, then please contact us, because we will provide you with details of who those people are. But they are people that are sourcing data direct from the manufacturer and are major players within the automotive industry data side of things. So additional to the DVLA data, then we get this core data about the vehicle, some specifications with regards to its say maximum speed or performance, miles per gallon, etc., vehicle size. And also we get some details around costings, which can be useful for some types of investigations if we're looking at maybe a lot of vehicles that have been stolen and we're trying to value those vehicles. Appreciate that these are the on the road prices, but depending on the type of case you've got, you may be able to use this as a bit of a valuation tool, which I have known people struggle in the past, people from proceeds of crime departments, in getting valuations for vehicles. And then we're moving on to some of the technical data that's held about the vehicle, and I'll just highlight a couple. But the tyre sizes are really important for forensic collision investigation, because we want to know when we physically look at a vehicle and examine a vehicle that the tyre sizes that are on the vehicle actually match what the manufacturer specified it should be. Because if it doesn't, and I have had these instances before, then if we're looking at any speed data from a vehicle involved in a serious collision that's come off some of the other networks, then that needs to be taken into account. So we know what tyre sizes the vehicle should have, and we should be looking at that when we're then carrying out a physical examination of the vehicle to make sure that they match. The standard specification. Now this is really a little bit where this project was born, because I was always interested in wanting to know what audio and communications were on a particular vehicle, and to get that from a single VRM lookup is quite difficult, because you don't know the full trim level of the vehicle in some instances, and depending on the trim level of the vehicle will depend what systems are installed on the vehicle. So this is something that has had some work done in order to get this on, because you wouldn't get this on a normal sort of VRM. This is additional to DVLA data, and from a vehicle system forensics examination point of view, I can see already that this vehicle has got the MBUX multimedia system. So I know which infotainment system this vehicle has got. I can work out from there which of the modules it will be. I can see that it's got a hard disk, navigation, and I'm already now, without having to go to the vehicle, pretty confident which system I'm going to find before I get to the vehicle. And I can also see what some of the other features are. I can see that there's 2 USB ports for the vehicle, so I could be wanting to consider other digital devices when I'm going to plan for an investigation. I can see it's got dual Bluetooth interface as well on the telephone equipment side of things. So that is something that we've specifically asked for with regards to the development of this project, for the audio and communications to be in this area of the interface, and as a standard return on looking the vehicle registration markup. Additionally, the safety and security features are also important when we're planning for an investigation, certainly those people involved in crash investigation, because again, we want to see what the manufacturer has listed as the safety features on this vehicle, and they are becoming increasingly more and more as you get a newer vehicle. But I mean, look at the different safety and security features that are listed for this vehicle. It's a 2019 vehicle, so it's at least 3 years old now. But I might want to start describing some of these features when I get into a report stage of writing up about a vehicle and explaining what these systems are when I am reporting on, say, a fatal road collision where I've got data from a vehicle.
Active bonnet pedestrian safety measure would be useful to know, because if that's vehicles involved in a pedestrian collision, then there may be some data that I can access around that side of things, even though airbags might not have gone off. Active brake assist, active lane keeping assist. These are all things that are useful for me to know if I was going into an interview with a driver for a serious or fatal collision, because it might be something that they're going to present as a topic in that interview, that the active lane keeping assist wasn't working as it should if they veered into another lane, or active brake assist. And I might want to then just do a little bit more open source research as to what these features actually are. Crash responsive emergency lighting, the list can go on and on. We'll keep coming down, and we've got some of the other standard features of this vehicle. So again, I can see interior features, cruise control with limiter. These are all useful pieces of information for me to know about this particular vehicle without having to try and work out which trim level of vehicle it's got and whether or not it's got its standard from, say, the manufacturer's website. And certainly a vehicle of 3 years old, it's going to be difficult to find this information out quickly. Exterior features are listed, mechanical features, and some warranty details within there. Optional extras tells me what this vehicle might have in addition to where it's got a standard. So I can see that it might also have an advanced navigation package. So I need to be mindful of that in my planning stage of, say, vehicle system forensics examination if I'm looking to exploit data from the infotainment system. And it's also potentially got a safety and driver assistance package as well. What are the differences between the two? And I might want to know that before I carry out a report or write up a report with regards to what's the difference between that and has that been taken as a feature. Now with the optional extras, what you can't do is we can't backtrack. We can't know what somebody has taken at the point of sale. So that is one limitation of the system, but it does give you the heads up to know that these features could be on the vehicle as well. So I'll close those back down just to keep this interface a little bit tidier. And then these areas that are highlighted in yellow, these are additional APIs that we've integrated into this system. So warranty data, these will trigger an additional charge. So it may be that you don't need to know about warranty details, in which case you wouldn't click them. You may not want to know about manufacturer recall data on this vehicle, so you wouldn't click it, etc, etc. But I'm going to click these in any event just to show you what's in there for the benefit of this example. So the warranty data, that's just pulling the data from the API that's being used in respect of the different warranties that might be on the vehicle. I can see what those are. May not be relevant to your investigation, but they're there if you need them. The manufacturer recall data, again, this will tell us whether there are any recalls on this vehicle, which might be useful in certain investigations to know whether there is. And it's a little bit of a checklist, this, to say, do I need it, and am I going to include it in my investigation? Because as software developments are taking place on modern vehicles, there are more recalls going on than perhaps there were in the past, and it would be useful to know about those for a particular type of investigation. Salvage data, has the vehicle been written off in the past? And this can be useful again in crash investigation to know whether or not the vehicle's been involved in previous incidents. Just been dealing with a case recently whereby the vehicle had been written off before. So when I'm looking to attribute events on, say, an event data recorder to my incident that I'm investigating, could it be that the vehicle's been involved in an incident before, and do I need to know a little bit more about that? Has the vehicle been registered as a taxi before? Now this can be useful in the insurance sector, but also for other types of investigations to know whether or not the vehicle has been used as a taxi. That's tapping into local authority databases with regards to whether or not the vehicle has been registered as a taxi before. Is the vehicle stolen? If you're in law enforcement, you would know that already, but we'll link through to that database, and has the vehicle been written off in the past. Again, we get a lot of vehicles being written off now, just on a category S potentially, and they are getting put back on the road. So again, useful to know, and we've been dealing with somebody that's looking at taking a trial of this system, for example, another case use example, who buy a lot of vehicles and are potentially buying a lot of vehicles blind, and not knowing then when the vehicle, when they get the vehicle, that there's issues with it. Well, this is identifying some of the issues that might be there before they're making the purchase. And component failure data. Now, this is a little bit of artificial intelligence work that's been done with regards to the MOT failure reasons on all the historic MOT testing data. So if we have a vehicle that is, particular trim level of vehicle that's always got particular fault on the MOT, this is going to give us a percentage likelihood of those failures in the next 12 months based on that artificial intelligence. And I will show you some other examples of that with some other vehicles, but useful to know if you're looking at maybe buying a vehicle, but also when you are looking at, say, another, a crash investigation as to whether or not any of those identified potential component failures, so let's just call them weak spots on the vehicle, are weak on your investigation. It might be able to send to you your investigation a little bit more to those points where it is known that those components do fail on certain vehicles. And that's quite a significant project that's been done by some of the data partners to put all that data together and to be able to give us a forecast in relation to that. Now, at the time of this video, the additional data set that is not here is the MOT history, which comes in line with the component failure data as well. So you will see a development to this system whereby the MOT history will be included within the data as well. So that's what we get when we look a vehicle up. We've got those as it is now. Now, not to say that this project is by any means finished. If there are other data sets that people are aware of and other APIs that we can tap into, then those can be built on to this system as well. What we then get is the option now to add this vehicle to our garage. So let's just say it is a vehicle of interest in our investigation and we want to keep hold of these details. Then this is going to cache the data that we've looked up. So I'm going to add this to the garage, and it's going to say which of the optional extra pieces of data do I want as part of that process. Now, in this case, I've clicked every one. So I'm going to have those so that they're available in my report, and I'm going to add this to the garage. What that means now is I've got another button now. I can email a PDF report to myself, and I'll show you an example of that, or I can view the garage. So what the garage allows you to do is to save all these vehicles that you look up. So it depends on the nature of your business and how busy you are. Would depend on how many vehicles you would want to save to your garage. You may just want to email yourself that report. But the garage is limitless, and you can save as many vehicles as you want into the garage, which means you can just go back to those vehicles at any given point. So there's the one I've just looked up. I can reopen that from the garage now and look at that anytime without any additional charges, because I've cached that data from that original lookup. And what it will do when that opens up is it will come back to the main screen that I've seen before, and I can go back in and look at those various different data sets again when I maybe need to refresh myself if somebody's come back from an inquiry, or I can email the PDF. So let me just go back into my garage and see what I can going to open another one up just as an example. This is a vehicle that's obviously been searched in the past. And I can open this up. You just need to be mindful to do a little bit of housekeeping if you are saving all these to your garage. But like I said, it will put them in date order that they were looked up in, so you can easily go back. And again, I've got the user interface there where I can go and start to look at the data about the vehicle in here. Come up to the burger menu at the top, 3 bars there, then I can go to the garage from that area as well, or I can go and click a new search to do a new search on a new inquiry or a new vehicle. I'll come back to the garage now, and again, I've got all these vehicles in here, which are generally live investigations or ones that we've done as part of a test before. So if I want to produce a report, I'm just going to flick over to one that's already been opened up. This is actually on the Aperture website, so I'll just flick over onto that. If you go to aperture.co.uk/DriveStats, on here you will see there is some information around this project, but you've got some sample reports that you can download as well, so that's all that this one is. And you can see that this is the PDF essentially that is produced when you email yourself the report. So if I go through, you'll get the front cover with the main image of the vehicle on there, the second page with the other images, and then the description of the vehicle. And then we're going through all those different data types that we've talked about. I'm not going to go through them slowly, but you can see all the way down. And get this down to the bottom. And then we get that information, who's done the lookup and what date was it created on as well, which can be useful in certainly criminal investigations, to say that when you've looked it up and it documents that date and time. So that is a PDF. We can exhibit that and use that, like I've said, in some reports. We'll cover this side of things more in one of our training packages around court preparation. But essentially that is the DriveStats system, and I'm not really going to go any further than what we've done there. You may or may not have your own thoughts around how you could use that and how it could certainly save you time if you're involved in looking up a lot of vehicle data, but also how it might professionalize your investigations by knowing a lot about that vehicle and what its specifications are, what its previous history is with regards to some of the other incidents that are involved with vehicles over time as they grow old. And it pulls it all into this simple user interface. So if you are interested in trialing this system, it is available on both a 1-month trial or a 3-month trial. And the benefits perhaps of a 3-month trial would allow you to see how much usage you are doing, so you can forecast costs for the forthcoming period of time. A 1-month trial will obviously give you the time to play around with the system yourself and see how it's working for you in your particular field of investigations. So if that is of interest, then if you just email us info@harpershaw.co.uk, then we're more than happy to link you in with Clear Vehicle Data, who will be responsible for setting that trial up and managing your account. And I think the only other thing to say is, as you will see from the original user interface, we'll go back to new search. This can be all brought in line with your own branding. So I've just got a slow internet connection at the time this is being recorded. I'm just waiting for that first homepage to load up. There we go. So you would be able to have your own logo into this area here. That gets populated on the report. Or if you're part of a police service, then of course you could put your own force crest in there, and it can be flexible to that so that it's it's yours and it's branded to your particular company or your particular police service. And additionally, if you know that you don't want any of those data sets, like you don't need to know whether it's stolen because you're a police, then we just take that out as well. Those APIs can be increased or decreased to suit your needs. We've got the flexibility to do that. So I hope you found that useful. If you do have any questions about it, then either put them in the comments on this video or drop us an email. Thank you for listening.